Good day, everyone, and thanks for joining us for this webinar on the current International Space Station National Lab Research Announcement, or NLRA, focused on technology advancement and applied research. I'm Patrick O'Neill, Public Affairs and Outreach Lead for the ISS National Lab. This webinar is designed to help educate those of you who might be interested in applying for this specific research announcement. Please note that this webinar is being recorded and will be available on the ISS National Lab website. Additionally, at the end of this webinar, there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions. Okay, so let's get a little into the background and history of the ISS National Lab. The Center for the Advancement of Science in Space, or CASIS, is the manager of the ISS National Lab and has served as such since 2011 through a cooperative agreement with NASA. In fact, NASA extended this cooperative agreement for CASIS to manage the ISS National Lab through 2027. Each year, the ISS National Lab puts forth a variety of research announcements focused on targeted areas for researchers, companies, innovators, and educators alike. The purpose of these research announcements is to enable greater access to the ISS, a unique platform in low Earth orbit, to bring scientific value back to people on Earth, build commerce in space, and prepare the next generation of researchers and explorers. And with that, I'd like to bring into the conversation Phil Iris, Science Program Director for the ISS National Lab. Welcome, Dr. Phil.
Thank you, Patrick. I'm looking forward to providing some insights into this research announcement focused on technology advancement and applied research leveraging the ISS National Lab.
So, with that, what do you say we start with the obvious question of why would you want to conduct research in space?
Well, the ISS National Lab provides the opportunity for scientific and technological discoveries under the unique and persistent conditions of space which you can't replicate on Earth. Conducting research in low Earth orbit offers several advantages. Near-persistent microgravity has proven to have a profound impact on both physical processes and living systems. Removing the vector of gravity from your experiment allows you to see your research through a brand new lens of discovery. Gravity-induced forces like buoyancy-induced flows, sedimentation, and hydrostatic pressure are significantly reduced on the space station, enabling scientific discoveries that are not possible on Earth. Surface tension and diffusion become dominant in near-persistent microgravity, and disease models are accelerated. The extreme environment available on external ISS platforms may be useful for accelerating materials degradation testing by exposing materials to the harsh conditions in low Earth orbit. These conditions include extreme thermal cycling, ultra-high vacuum, atomic oxygen, and high-energy radiation, all of which can be taken advantage of during testing. The space station also provides a unique vantage point from which to study our planet, as its orbit covers approximately 90% of the world's populated areas. This vantage point provides a global perspective on space domain awareness, remote sensing, and satellite deployment. These advantages enabled by the ISS National Lab benefit a wide variety of R&D areas. Now let's take a minute to discuss what we'll cover during this webinar, and then we'll get into the specifics of the research announcement. We're going to review the current technology advancement research announcement, including the research objectives and some general areas of interest. We'll then take a look at some of the existing ISS National Lab research examples. After that, we'll outline the process and timeline of this research announcement, along with some details about the award itself, and last, as Patrick mentioned, we'll have a Q&A session. Let's talk about this research announcement focused on technology advancement and applied research leveraging the ISS National Lab. We are seeking projects that aim to develop, test, or mature products or processes that have a clear line of sight to commercial applications. This research announcement is broad in scope, so there are several opportunities to identify potential economic benefits. Think in terms of enabling or maturing a new technology or product with the potential to produce a positive economic impact. If you are familiar with technology readiness levels, or TRL, you should be considering the maturation of technology that is currently somewhere around a TRL of 4 or higher and aiming to raise that TRL.
So, Dr. Phil, it sounds like projects with economic benefit, either directly or indirectly, are in demand.
Absolutely. Investigators might test a process in the space environment that resolves a key technology hurdle, which then allows them to take a product to the marketplace, or they may conduct space-based research that enhances or expands the market reach for a product. While this research announcement is quite expansive in scope, the ISS National Lab is placing emphasis on several specific areas. First, we are particularly interested in research that focuses on hardware prototype testing, such as emerging technologies and sensors, as well as AI-enabled technologies, electronics, nanotechnologies, and more. Second, we're interested in projects that are focused on the development of next-generation production methods, synthesis, and testing of novel materials, and the exploitation of mechanisms involved in advanced materials production. Third, we are interested in process improvements, such as advancing the development of facilities for high-throughput research for testing and screening, modeling of operations of industrial systems, and new methodologies for spaceflight research and development using robotics and automation. Next, we're looking for projects aimed at translational medicine research, such as accelerated disease models, drug design, and novel drug delivery and diagnostic devices. And finally, we're interested in projects focused on energy and environmental sustainability, such as environmental measurements and monitoring, biodegradable and green materials, or recycling technologies. I've only scratched the surface of what's provided in the research announcement instructions. There's much more information in the downloadable documents on the research announcement webpage. Use the QR code on the screen now to go directly to that webpage and download the instructions and research announcement information. Now I'm going to share a few examples of research that has successfully utilized the ISS National Lab to advance technology. I'd like to highlight a few projects that focused on technology demonstrations of various sensors. L3Harris Technologies demonstrated the performance of their photonic integrated circuit materials in the space environment. They evaluated critical characteristics such as optical loss, efficiency, bandwidth, and power output. Next, Nanomics tested their ultra-compact hyperspectral imager. The imager was mounted externally to the ISS to monitor its calibration stability over time and capture images of Earth that can be used for applications such as agriculture, natural disaster monitoring, or mineralogical surveys. Lastly, UbiquityLink demonstrated the ability to send and receive short message service, or SMS messages, between the ISS and standard cell phones on Earth in remote locations without cell tower access, effectively leveraging the ISS as a space-based orbiting cell tower. I hope these examples have helped you think about how your project might benefit from the space environment. At the same time, you're probably beginning to wonder how your research might be conducted on board or outside the space station. A good first step is to reach out to one of our implementation partners. Implementation partners are organizations that have expertise in translating ground-based research to flight-ready payloads for operation on board the ISS. They will help you design and implement any necessary hardware components and execute your project. This research announcement is a two-step process, and the concept summary, which is step 1, is open to everyone, while step 2 is by invitation only. We're addressing the step 1 concept summary submission in this webinar. It's important to connect with an implementation partner during step 1 concept summary preparation. I encourage you to visit our implementation partner directory and begin engaging in conversations with these organizations now. There's additional information about implementation partners, as well as available hardware and facilities on station in the research announcement documents. You'll also want to get a realistic estimate of what your project might cost, especially if you're new to space, so a conversation with an implementation partner is a great way to start. While we're talking about costs, this is a great time to discuss funding. Funding for this specific research announcement is $650,000 with the expectation of 2 to 3 awards. You are expected to cover direct costs such as your time, your team's time, your equipment, fabrication costs, and testing that you would like to do on the ground to prepare for space. As I mentioned, when it comes to doing space-based research on the ISS, it's essential to have an implementation partner to work alongside you. The funding set aside for this research announcement is to assist with implementation partner costs, not for your team's costs. Under an ISS National Lab Award, launched the ISS, the cost of any crew resources that you may need to perform your experiment, and resources to get your samples or data back to Earth are completely covered. Once a project is selected and funding is awarded, the time it takes before the experiment flies to the ISS depends largely on the complexity of what you're trying to do, as well as the availability of supply vehicles. Generally, this period takes about 12 to 14 months, and project completion is expected approximately 3 years from the award date.
Thanks for that deep dive on the research announcement. I'm sure most viewers have a few questions in mind. Questions such as, what do I need to do to apply? When do I need to do it by? How does the review process work? And most importantly, do I need to write a full proposal to be considered?
Those are all great questions, and as a reminder, this is a 2-step application process. Only Step 1 concept summary submissions are due by March 3rd. Before being invited to submit a full proposal, all interested investigators must submit a Step 1 concept summary through our online portal for review. Concept summaries will be reviewed for scientific, technological, and economic merit, operational feasibility, and compliance. Be sure to ask yourself, is my research question or technology maturation plan clear? Have I communicated the potential to produce a positive economic impact? Have I included the necessary information regarding an implementation partner? As an additional note for Step 1, we have implemented a new rule. PIs may submit a maximum of 2 concept summaries to this NLRA. If more than 2 concept summaries are submitted, the first 2 submissions will be accepted and any subsequent submissions will be declined without review. Submitted Step 1 concept summaries will be reviewed on a rolling basis throughout the Step 1 submission window, which is January 7th through March 3rd. Take advantage of the online documents and resources. Pay close attention to the instructions and email us if you have any questions. It's important to note that there may be advantages to submitting your Step 1 concept summary early. For example, if you don't get selected, you may be notified prior to the deadline, providing you with feedback and an opportunity to make alterations to your Step 1 concept summary and resubmit for another attempt.
Is it fair to say everything we've covered so far regarding this research announcement is all detailed in the downloadable documents and instructions available online?
Absolutely. In fact, there's more detail in those documents than what we are sharing with you now.
Excellent. Is there also information available regarding the evaluation process?
Yes. Details on the evaluation methodology for this research announcement can be found in the Proposal Evaluator Instructions, which is one of the documents contained in the zip file available for download. Now would be a good time to go over some helpful tips for preparing your Step 1 concept summary. If you're interested in submitting a Step 1 concept summary, I encourage you to use the available resources, which you can find links to on the research solicitation page. Connect with an implementation partner early. The scope of work and budget that you receive from your selected implementation partner is critical. Check out the new ISS Research Facilities directory. This tool allows you to search through many of the existing ISS research facilities by research area, operator, or by a free word search. Once you find a facility that you think can meet your R&D needs, the facility webpage clearly lists the facility manager's email address so you can go reach out to ask questions. Next, write to the evaluation criteria. The instructions outline the evaluation criteria that will be used to evaluate your concept summary. Be sure to address all the evaluation criteria. Proposals that do not address all the criteria or address them poorly are likely to receive low evaluation ratings. Lastly, submit a compliant concept. Ensure that your research objectives are within the scope of this specific research announcement. As a quick review, let's go over the entire research announcement timeline. This research announcement opened on January 7th, 2025. All Step 1 concept summary submissions are due by March 3rd. Applicants whose concepts are approved in Step 1 will be invited to submit a full proposal for Step 2. Now is a good time to mention another benefit to submitting your Step 1 concept summary submission early. If selected, you'll be notified earlier, giving you more time to start working on the next step, which is the full proposal. Step 2 full proposals will be due by May 19th and are by invitation only. Selections will be made in July of 2025. Remember, we're available to answer questions in advance of your Step 1 concept summary submission and during your Step 2 proposal writing, should you be invited to submit a full proposal. You can email us anytime. Well, that's it for this research announcement. Our team is here to support you. Our website has all the solicitation documents and instructions, as well as a host of resources to help you submit the best concept summary possible.
To our audience, remember the goal of ISS National Lab activities is to bring value and impact back to the U.S. economy and taxpayers by benefiting humanity. Well, that was an outstanding review of this technology advancement research announcement that's now open and ready for applicants. Dr. Phil, been a pleasure talking with you today.
Thanks, Patrick. I enjoyed it. And now you all have the information you need to get started on your concept summary submission. This is a great opportunity to take advantage of the expertise and access to space available to you through the ISS National Lab. So, what's next on the agenda? Are we ready to answer some Q&A?
We are definitely ready for some Q&A. In just 1 minute, we'll be taking questions from you, our webinar attendees. Stay tuned. While the team is getting ready to answer your questions, I'm going to take a minute to talk about the International Space Station Research and Development Conference, or ISSRDC, an annual event hosted by the Center for the Advancement of Science and Space, which manages the ISS National Lab, together with NASA and the American Astronautical Society. This year, our 14th ISSRDC will be held in Seattle, July 28th through the 31st, and will include dynamic keynote speakers, plenary and technical sessions, lightning talks, workshops, and plenty of opportunities to network with leaders in the space community. Registration will open in a few months, so mark your calendars now, and we hope to see you in Seattle.